Every week, we're asked what the secrets are to succeed in case interviews. It's one of the reasons that we exist. And while there are no magic bullets that can take you from 0 to 60 in 24 hours, there are 4 things that you can do to best succeed inside your case interview. Join us to listen to these case interview secrets. Case interview secrets. This is one of the questions we get so often. What are the magic bullets for a case interview? Today, I'm going to walk through 4 case interview secrets that differentiate good from great performers. And I wouldn't say guarantee, but nearly guarantee that you will get passed on or get the offer. Number 1, build custom frameworks. When we give feedback to people that are walking through the case interview process and they go through the opening, crush it, go through some questions, crush those, and then give us a structure that is straight out of another book, straight off of a download, that is not customized to the question, is not prioritized, and the data is not specified, we know that they're not going to solve the case in the fastest, most specific way. How do you customize frameworks? Well, we have a couple of rules for doing that. Number 1, make sure that you borrow from core frameworks in the beginning. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. The more out of left field they are, the less practical they feel. So you actually can and should start with core common frameworks. Some people just try to create these Picasso frameworks from the very beginning, and they're so confusing that it feels like you won't even solve the problem. So don't feel like you have to completely recreate the wheel. However, you should rename your categories, number 1. So instead of the profitability framework being revenue minus cost, or probably more appropriately, price, volume, variable cost, and fixed cost. Instead, you should say value and cost structure and operations. You can use different terms to quantify the things that you're talking about inside the profitability structure. Second, make sure that the structure is prioritized. One thing that we do in our trainings is that we have people go through and number their structure after they write it down. So at the 1 minute and 50 second mark, when they're completing the writing of their structure, we say, take the last 10 seconds and go back and number the structure in the order of priority. That way you can deliver it that way. That way you can convey to somebody that you've thought through, not just copying a structure, but reorganizing it so that it's in the right order. The final thing that you need to do is really make the data specific. You want to make sure that in the profitability structure, if you're talking about pricing, you're not just saying how to get more price, but you're saying what percentage different price do competitors have from us? Second, what price elasticity do customers have? How willing are they to pay slightly more for our product? And when we raise prices, how many of them will drop off? Get really targeted and specific about the data that you want to use. Not only that, but make sure that the targeted and specific data is appropriate for the case. If you're talking about an automotive client, you want to make sure that it's prioritized in the right order. So the things that are the most important are first, but also you're not talking about things like online web costs. It's not going to matter as much to an automotive dealer. You're going to want to make sure that you're talking about things like the parts of the car, the labor, unionization of the labor, and other issues like that. In summary, when you're thinking about custom frameworks, one of the case interview secrets is to make sure that your case frameworks are grounded in reality, but reprioritized, renamed, and specified specifically for the case.
We'll be right back after this quick message.
Feeling stuck in your prep process? Join Black Belt. Black Belt gives you expert help. You get 8 one-hour, one-to-one coaching sessions with an MBB coach. You get access to unlimited digital materials and homework that we will assign you in between sessions to help you quickly accelerate your progress. If you need to be interview ready quickly, join Black Belt today. Click the link in the show notes to learn more.
The second thing that it's critical to know when you're thinking about a case interview and the secrets that you need to follow is that quality practice supersedes quantity practice all day long. Your job is not to hit a certain number of cases. Your job is to succeed in the interview. And for those of you that need 100 cases to do it, great. Most of you don't. Most of you need 20 to 30 at a maximum cases to succeed in the interview. Now, how you do those cases determines how many you need. If you, at the end of a case, Walk away from it saying, that was interesting. I'll do another one tomorrow. You'll gain very little from the experience of having done it, except for getting less scared in the process. But quality practice builds skill. And so if you're going to get quality practice, you take every case after you've completed it and you take notes on what happened inside the case. You keep those in a single place. You redo the pieces of the case that were not successful. If your structure was terrible, you go back at the end of the case and you spend 2 more minutes now knowing how the case flowed and you rebuild a structure. At the end of the process, you make sure that you think about the math, the details, and the answer in a high level so that you're able to summarize effectively at the end of the case. At the end of the day, if you do 20 cases well by spending 45 minutes doing the case and 30 to 45 minutes after the case, reviewing the case, redoing the case, and fixing those parts of the case, you're going to be much more successful on case 2 and case 5 and case 10. You're going to make incremental gains that are rapid. The third thing that's super important is that your personality matters. One of the roles of your case interview practice is to ensure that you're not nervous. You can be a little nervous. That drives adrenaline and focus inside the case, but too many nerves take away the edge from who you are. And ultimately, the firm is not interviewing you to see if you could do that case. They're interviewing you to see if they want to work with you. And they want you, fully you, totally you. So when people bring themselves to the case with enthusiasm, when they say things like, I'm so excited to solve this case, and it's authentic. When they say, I can't wait to dive into this. This is one of the most interesting problems that I've seen in a long time. That matters. When you smile at the interview, when you laugh at yourself, when you're enjoying the process of working through things, it matters inside the interview. So don't forget that in the process of getting better math skills. Finally, you do not have to be perfect. Every single one of our case interview coaches on the Management Consulted platform, we ask them, when you went through your interview, did you have a perfect 10 the whole way through? And the answer was absolutely not. They went through with a structure that didn't complete the problem. There were things in there that they really focused on that ended up being important, but there were other things that they added. They didn't matter. They focused on things that weren't the most important things. Didn't matter. They messed up the math, but then they caught themselves in fixing it. What matters more than being perfect is that you keep an eye on the big picture inside the case. Why are you asking to do that math? Why do you think that that is the big issue? And when you come against issues where you mess up, you fess up. Make sure that you're focused on that inside the case. So our 4 case interview secrets are: number 1, make sure that you build custom frameworks. Don't start off your case with a cookie cutter approach, but also don't try to ram a framework that is so radically creative down the throat of your interviewer to the point where you never get anything done. Number 2, make sure that you focus on quality practice over quantity practice. Ensure that the number of cases that you do is more focused on what you get out of them rather than how many you did. Third, personality matters. Have fun in the interview. Show who you are. Get excited about solving the problem. People that are passionate do well inside consulting firms. And finally, you don't have to get it perfect. If you mess up, you fess up. The 4 things we talked about today are super hard to get right. So if you want help, we're here for you. First of all, structures. Make sure that you do drills on structures and don't just solve them within your cases. We have a platform and a structure process. If you buy our consulting case library, you get access to all of our structure drills. Second, make sure that you're focusing on quality practice over quantity practice. Just one session with a coach of ours can save you 5 to 10 sessions that you would do with a peer who's not experienced. So working with a coach can be really successful for that. Number 3, make sure that you video yourself when you're going through the case interview process. Get a sense of how you come across. And if you want to join us for a live Zoom call, we do them regularly. You can volunteer and we'll give you feedback. Finally, you don't have to get it perfect. You want to make sure that you're keeping track of the things that you did well and not well as you go through the cases. We have a free scoring guide that can help you focus on your key issues. So if you download the free scoring guide and you use it on your first couple of cases or your next couple of cases that you're doing, then you'll have the ability to focus on what you most need to fix. We're so excited to be with you on the journey to figure out the mystery that is case interviews. Thanks so much for joining. We're so glad that you listened to this podcast on Strategy Simplified. We had fun producing it for you. And if you liked it too, we'd love for you to review it and share it. We're so excited to share the case interview secrets that we have with the world.